Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. What was I saying? What's my typical thing? Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Mads and happy Easter everybody. I always love Easter and I love celebrating it with my family. This year we're celebrating it a little bit differently because it's our first Easter without my grandma, who always takes like the head of Easter. We always go to her church service and she always gets everybody brunch and it's always been super nice, but this year is our first one without her. It went well, and I had a great time with my family this morning and just spending some time together. And now I am going to film my March wrap-up. I love filming wrap-ups on the last day of the month. Like, it just feels so official. So I can't wait to dive into it. I honestly had such a great reading month. I read 5 books, and 2 of them were 5 stars. 2 of them were also like in the 2-star range, which sucks, but 2 of them were 5 stars. So I consider that such a successful month and I read so much and I'm just so pleased with myself. My drink for the day is a lavender honey latte and it's so good. This is my first time going to a coffee shop and getting something in forever. I typically am too scared to get it because if you don't know, I do have celiac and I am so paranoid about it, and so I never really take a risk, but today I took a risk and got a coffee and my tummy doesn't hurt, so the risk paid out. And it's so great because we have this coffee shop where I live too, which is so nice, and so now I can start getting more coffees and I'm so excited. And it's probably not going to be good for my bank account, but it's fine. Okay, so I started this month off with a advanced reader's copy, and that is The Simmons House Kills by Megan Dwyer. I think this book came out March 5th, so it should already be out if you want to go check it out. This is a YA mystery thriller about this girl who kind of joins this high society in this college with the intent to take them down from the inside because she has this like vendetta against the leader. And in one of her first meetings, one of the girls from the society, who's actually been fighting a lot with the head of the society, dies. And so now our main character is just trying to figure out who killed her and kind of hoping to use this murder as a way to take down the society. And honestly, it's just such a great premise. Like, I knew the second I read the premise, I was like, I need to read that and I need to see what it's about because I love a good like kind of secret society. And this one isn't really much of a secret, but in a college, it feels so dark academia. This book would honestly be really great to read in the fall because it does take place at the beginning of the fall semester. So it does have those like leftover summer vibes that the beginning of fall typically does, while also diving into those fall vibes of academia and mystery. Unfortunately, I did end up rating this book a 2-star, and I feel so bad because the author literally personally sent it to me, and I have it signed, like personally signed by the author, and Megan is so sweet. I just didn't feel any connection to the characters, and that's such a big thing for me. A lot of the character interactions felt really forced and unnatural, and I feel like the romance in this book, well, one, like you could obviously see it coming from the beginning, and I feel like that's not a bad thing. I feel like in a lot of books you can see, oh, these 2 are gonna get together and I can't wait to see how it happens. But I feel like they kind of go from like her thinking she's annoying to being like, fine, you can help me, which made no sense at all, like why she would just let him help her, to kind of becoming partners in crime. So I feel like the transition of their relationship did not feel smooth at all. It just felt like, oh, we're partners now. Oh, we're fake dating. Oh, I like you. And I think that just like got to me a little bit. And then some of the interactions between the other characters just felt a little bit like cringy. Like it just kind of like, it felt like somebody, I don't know how to describe this. A lot of the interactions felt forced and kind of cringy, and I just didn't love it. The mystery was pretty good. Like, I did enjoy figuring out the mystery as I went. There were just some times where I just didn't feel as connected into the story, or I felt like it didn't progress in a very linear way, which does irk me. So that's my take on it. I did love, like, the mystery was really good and it was such an interesting concept, and the characterization of the main character was also like really good, and her motive was really good to figuring all of this out and wanting to take the main character down. And you do see some character development, which I do also appreciate. In a fairly short book, you can see some character development, which is honestly really impressive. So that's why I ended up rating it a 2-star, which again breaks my heart completely, and I feel so bad about it. But I still recommend this book to people. Like, if this sounds like something that you would like, please go check it out. I love supporting small authors, and Megan is just starting out. This is her first book, and I do believe she's planning on turning it into a series, which is really cool. I'd be tempted to read the next book to see how it goes. Yeah, the second book of the Lakeside U mystery series is coming fall 2024. They're following Emma and Henry to solve another suspenseful mystery. So I'm curious to see how that goes. I think it's gonna involve this like mystery society that they kind of become a part of, and I would be tempted to see how that one goes and to see the development in writing maybe. But this is how I felt about this one. I still support, go check it out if that seems interesting to you. Find a way to read it and let me know your thoughts about it. Okay, so the next 2 books I read were for this vlog I did in March, and that was me reading books recommended from friends. You may or may not have seen me post on my Instagram story the template for 12 recs from 12 friends, and I'm thinking of making a vlog series of me just like making my way through that. So as a part of that vlog, Sydney recommended I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and I'm so glad she did. Guys, this book is so good, so worth the hype. I'm in love with this. If you want to see kind of my reactions as I'm reading this book, go check out that vlog and you'll just kind of see me making my way through it. I would also, love if you did check out that vlog, but this book is so good. I love reading this book. This one is about 2 rivals who somehow magically start sending letters to one another. Iris originally thinks she's sending letters to her brother and then finds out that it's not her brother, it's this mystery man, but they just keep talking and they kind of form this connection over letters. And I honestly think they kind of have a connection in real life too, but this rivalry they have at this paper that they're both writing at kind of stands in the way because they're both fighting for this top position at this newspaper. But there's also this magical war going on between these 2 gods that Iris's brother is currently fighting in, and she goes through a lot of character development to figure out what she wants with her life, especially after even more tragedy strikes, and she ends up doing something crazy and Roman ends up following, which is insane. So this book is so good. It has like this balance between fantasy and historical fiction, which I really love. Like, it feels so cool because you have typewriters and trains, but you also have like magic and kind of like wyverns, and it's such an interesting concept. I love it. And it is super short. Like, it's a lot shorter than I expected it would be, and it was so quick to read. And I loved Iris and Roman separately and together. I just loved getting to see them grow throughout this book, and I was so curious to see what I would think about it because it's such a popular couple, like Iris and Roman, and they definitely live up to the hype. I love them. I will say their relationship is definitely not slow burn. They go from like rivals to kind of friends to lovers in the span of this like book, but I do think that the transition between those aspects of the relationship is fairly smooth. There were a couple times where I was just kind of like, would this like actually happen? This feels a little bit forced, but there are times too where I was just like, I don't care, I love them too much to care. Like, I'm just like, you know what, let them do whatever they want, let them be happy. And I don't want to say any spoilers, but just like let them be what they want to be. And then by the ending was insane, and the ending left me like wanting to sob because of that like cliffhanger and what happened. And no, like, I cannot accept this happening. And I also was getting so mad at a certain character, and I was like, stop it, I'm gonna kick you. But the ending was insane and definitely makes me want to read the second book, and I'm so excited to read the second book, especially because my sister-in-law actually didn't end up loving this book, but she said the second book was even better. So I have so much faith in it, and I cannot wait to dive into it. I don't know when that's gonna be. I'm probably gonna have to get it from my library because I don't own the second book, but I need to get it, and I'll get it somehow, and I'll end up reading it. Probably not in April, but we're gonna see on that one. If I'm in the mood to, I'm not gonna let that get in the way. So yeah, I ended up rating this book 5 stars, in case you didn't realize that. This ended up being my first 5-star of 2024. So exciting, and I can't wait to see what other 5 stars I get, and there is another 5-star in this video that I can't wait to talk about. So I definitely recommend this book, and I really need to read Ruthless Vows, and I'm tempted to check out her other books too, because this book was just so well written and magical, and I loved the writing. The writing was amazing, so I need to check out her other books. Next is also a book I read in that vlog, and that is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. Yeah, Christelle Dabos. This one is a part of a 4-book series, and this is so funny because I walked past this book so many times when growing up when I was looking at Barnes & Noble, and I would pick it up and I would read the back and be like, maybe I don't know if I would like that or not, so I just moved on. This book is so good. I ended up rating it 4 stars. Thank you, Alyssa, for recommending me this book for my list and for my video, because I really ended up loving this book. And I'm so glad that I did read it, because Alyssa has been like pressuring me or like yelling at me to read this book for so long, so I'm finally glad I got around to reading it, because I just love reading books that people recommend me, because then it's just like a fun thing to talk about and kind of bond over. So I love doing that, and I loved getting to read this book. This one is very interesting, and right off the bat, it's just like kind of intriguing. This one takes place in this kind of just very magical world where the world has kind of like gone into like parts or whatever, and these people live on each. I don't know how to describe the world, okay? I don't, because it still kind of confuses me. If you want a better description of the world, look elsewhere. But this book follows our main girl, Ophelia, who is getting married off to this guy from a foreign nation, foreign island, and she has to go live there, and it's very intense. Like, the place she ends up going to is very intense, very political, very like you might die, and it's really insane, and she's kind of not cut out for it in the beginning, but she goes through so much character development, and I can't wait to see how she goes throughout the rest of the series, because I think she's gonna find a way to thrive in this society and find a way to kind of like become a girl boss. There are a lot of characters in this book that I kind of just hated at the beginning, or I liked at the beginning and then grew to love or grew to hate, which I honestly found so entertaining. And this book felt so much like a Studio Ghibli movie, and I loved it. And it probably helps that I had just watched Howl's Moving Castle not that long before reading this, but it gave me the same vibes. Like, it really did. And I just found it so entertaining, and it both made me want to read more of these books and watch more Studio Ghibli movies, so I kind of love that. I don't know when I'm going to continue the rest of this series, but I definitely want to. I want to see where this goes, and I want to see how Ophelia and Thorne's relationship turns out. Luna is currently playing with her toys, so if you hear noise in the background, that is her. I apologize. I cannot get her to stop. She's being a menace. So I apologize. Anyways, I ended up rating this book a 4-star, and I really did enjoy it. And it was translated from French, which I honestly find super cool. I've read 2 translated books this month, which is kind of interesting. Next is gonna involve kind of a bit of a controversial opinion. Next up, I read Powerless by Lauren Roberts. If you've seen some of my past videos, you know I've been so excited to read this book, and I was just hoping to love it and love the romance, and I ended up rating this 2.5 stars. Originally it was 3 stars, but I think I was just kind of trying to be nice, trying to like it more than I actually did, but I really did not enjoy this book that much. I did think some of the fighting scenes were really cool, and I love the world concept, like this Hunger Games Red Queen kind of vibe. If you don't know, it's like this world where this plague has swept in and either killed you or gave you powers, a lot like Young Elites, but kind of reversed, where they hate the people without powers and they will just kill you because the king just wants a society full of elite people. And our main girl character is actually an ordinary. She doesn't have any powers, but she hides under this mask of a psychic, where she basically just has to be super observant, and she's really good at hiding it. Like, it's really impressive. And then our main guy character is the prince, who's becoming an enforcer, where he basically kills all the ordinaries and enforces all these laws. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic. And then there is this competition where all of these people with powers are put against each other to have one win. And it has a lot of death in it, but it's not necessarily like everybody else has to die, but definitely a lot of people do die. It's such an interesting concept. I just did not love Peyton and Kai's relationship, and I felt no chemistry. It felt so forced. And it also felt like a lot of the same scenes were just happening over and over again. No diversity. I felt like I was just reading the same things over and over. With the trials, with them, with her and his older brother, there was no diversity. I felt like, okay, it's hard because I feel like you can have them flirting with each other, but I felt like right off the bat, they're like, I like this person, but they're like, oh no, I can't have this person. But I like this person, but I can't have this person. And it just didn't feel right. considering who they are and their positions in life, and I did not like it. I did not like them, and I don't think I'm gonna even read the second book, which is, I think, saying a lot, because for the most part, if I start a series, I'm gonna try my best to finish it. Even if I don't like the first book, I'm gonna try the second book to see how it is, see if I like it anymore, but I'm tempted to just not try, because I felt no connection with the characters. They started getting on my nerves, and I was just getting really annoyed with this. I went into this expecting such a great romance, because it is a romance fantasy, so that's not ridiculous, but I felt no chemistry between the characters, and that's heartbreaking, and it just disappointed me so much. So this book was definitely my biggest disappointment of the month. Not even my lowest rated book, but still my biggest disappointment because of how much hope I had for it. So yeah, this one ended up being a 2-star. I'm sorry if you loved this book. I didn't, and it sucks. Like, it hurts me too, but it is what it is, and it happens sometimes. And then the last book that I read this month was also a 5-star read, and I ended up annotating this one. I was just really in the mood for annotating, and when I bought this one, I told myself, oh, I should annotate it. So I thought it was perfect. So I ended up reading Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. Oh my gosh, okay. This book, first of all, was what I was expecting, and I knew I was gonna love it going into it, because I thought it was gonna be really heavy and about mental health, but this one hides a lot of these mental health messages behind these just characters being idiots. And I'm not saying that to be mean. They literally, throughout the book, it's like, they're idiots. The story is about idiots, and it calls them idiots throughout the book, which is honestly so entertaining. But it also has these like really deep messages about mental health and just living life, honestly, because life is hard and these people are just trying to get by, and they're all going through their own hardships. I think they find a way to give each other like great advice, and they really do give each other what they need. This book is about a failed bank robbery where this bank robber tries to rob a cashless bank, runs out, and then the bank robber runs into this apartment building where there happens to be an apartment showing. The bank robber just runs into this room. The people in there just assume they're being held hostage, and the bank robber just goes with it, and it all kind of goes down from there. And it follows so many different perspectives in this book, and it's honestly so entertaining. And I think you go honestly through the first 50 pages without even learning anybody's names, which is so entertaining because it's just calling them like the younger police officer, the older police officer, the psychiatrist, and all this stuff. And it's honestly really entertaining, and I thought it was a really great way to write. But I just had such a fun time annotating this book. It seems like every page there's something I was underlining or highlighting, because there are just so many great lines in this that make you want to scream. Let me see if I can find like a good quote to read to you guys. And like the whole dynamic with the bank robber was honestly just so amazing too. And I knew from the start, I was like, I'm gonna get connected to this bank robber, so I was like already prepared for it. And then the book started, and I was like, why do I love this bank robber? Why do I feel for this person? Honestly, the first page was probably like one of my favorites. Like the way it entered in was just amazing. So maybe I'll just like read a paragraph from the first page. This story is about a lot of things, but mostly about idiots. So it needs saying from the outset that it's always very easy to declare that other people are idiots, but only if you forget how idiotically difficult being human is, especially if you have other people you're trying to be a reasonably good human being for. And after reading this book, I think that paragraph honestly hits a lot harder, because you see these people trying to be a good human being for people that they love, and it's such a great book. It's such a great book, and it's such a fun read too. Like, he writes it in such a fun way. I love it when a book can take something super deep and meaningful but write it in such a funny way, because there are so many funny lines in this. I highlighted funny in pink in this one, which I typically do for romance, but I knew it wasn't a romance book, so I thought it would be a good trade-off. There were so many times where I got confused seeing, like, using pink for funny moments because I'm just not used to it. But this book is just full of pink tabs because of so many funny lines. So it's just an amazing book, and I rated a 5-star, and I knew kind of right from the beginning that this would be a 5-star just because of how hard it was hitting. So I would definitely recommend this book. I want to read Fredrik Backman's other books now, because I know he has a whole bunch, and they all just look like they have very similar vibes, and I've heard really good things about Beartown. So I think I'm going to try and find that one at my local library and see how that one goes. But yeah, I had such a fun time with this book. It's actually translated from Swedish, which is really cool. And yeah, if you're gonna read this book though, please look up trigger warnings, because this does dive into a lot of topics regarding mental health and suicide. And the back of the book even provides contact information if you ever need support, or if anybody you know ever need support, which I honestly love that Frederick Backman included that after talking about these heavy topics. So please do look into trigger warnings. If that is something that you feel like you shouldn't be reading, don't read it. But if you do want to read it, then please go ahead. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the books I'm hopefully going to be able to read in April. This one is definitely more of a April hopefuls and a definite TBR. Definitely one of them I'll be reading in April because I've already started it. But I feel like April might be a little bit of a rough reading month for me, only because I have kind of a lot going on this month school-wise. I know I have a couple of exams. I know for sure I'll have 2 exams. A really big presentation that I'll have to do, a couple of things for my advertising class that I have to do, and some big projects to submit for my creative writing class. Like, I have a lot going on in April. For kind of every single one of my classes, there's something big that needs to be submitted. So I'm not gonna put too much pressure on myself to read. I think this month I will probably need to put school first, which is like totally fine because that's kind of life as a college student. Sometimes you can't do the things you love, but I am going to try my hardest to read as much as I can, but also I understand that if I don't read a lot this month, I'm not going to be too disappointed because I have other things I need to focus on, which sucks, but it is what it is. And besides, this is my last full month of the semester, and then we get into May where it's just finals, and then I just have summer and a lot of traveling. So if I fall behind this month, I know I can catch up, so it's gonna be fine. First off, I'm definitely gonna read House of Hades. I'm already a big chunk of the way in. I've kind of been like zooming through it, and this is my first time rereading it in so long, but I am currently on page 186. I actually didn't end up reading yesterday. But because like when I annotate a book, I don't take it with me to class and stuff because I know it's going to be so hard to annotate on the bus. So I just save my annotating for home just because it's so much more convenient. And then I have this for my like in between classes or a bus book. And this book, because it is, you know, just a middle grade fantasy, it's kind of a lot easier to just zoom through. I zoom through Rick Riordan's writing, and so it's just really easy to fly through, especially when you're just reading it a little bit throughout the day. I find it super easy. So I'm hoping I can take the first week of April and finish this up. I love The House of Hades. It's my favorite book in the Heroes of Olympus series for so many reasons, and I'm honestly already having such a great time. I'm already so entertained, and it's just amazing. And then Laurel is currently on The Blood of Olympus right now, and she's having a great time, and I think she really enjoyed this book too, which I always love. So definitely hoping to read House of Hades. And then this one's a little bit more just like cross my fingers, hope I can read, is Blood of Olympus. This one is a bit shorter than House of Hades, and again, it's been so long since I've actually read this book, so it's definitely gonna be interesting. And I feel like there's a lot of parts in this book that I just don't remember, like straight up don't remember. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how it goes again, see how I feel about it. It's gonna be good though, because this series has been taking me a bit to get through. So it's gonna be nice to be able to finish it up and move on to Rick Riordan's other books, so I can kind of complete this Rick Riordan readathon I'm going on right now. And then I have 2 others, like I said, super small hopefuls list. So the next one is a advanced reader's copy, and that is The Breakup List by Adib Khorram. I don't know when this one comes out. In fact, it may already be, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe when I'm editing, I will drop the date of when it comes out, if it already has come out or not. But this one follows, I think they're friends. I think it's gonna be like a friends to lover story with this guy who kind of just finds fault in every relationship and always finds a reason to break up with his boyfriend, and he creates this list not to date his like best friend, and of course they're gonna fall in love. And I think it's a theater kid romance too, like they're both theater kids. And this one is YA, and Penguin Teen just sent it to me in the mail, so thank you so much, Penguin Teen, and I can't wait to read this book. Looks super short. I'm probably gonna fly through it, and it's gonna be my first time reading Adib Khorram's writing. I do have Darius the Great is Not Okay, and I know that one has a sequel. I don't know if he's written anything else or not, but I'm super excited to see how I like this one, and to also read Darius the Great is Not Okay one day, hopefully. So yeah, this one is an advanced reader's copy, so I'm really hoping I can get to it this month. Like, it feels right to prioritize these ones after they were just sent to me, so I'm hoping I can get to this one in April. And then I have Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. This one is only because I've been craving Red, White, and Royal Blue lately, and I've been really wanting to reread it. But also, I'm hoping to save that reread for August because it's my birthday month, and that is when the movie came out last year, so I think it's gonna be a fun tradition to start. So I'm hoping that this kind of like hits that craving a little bit, because I heard they're very similar vibes, and this one has, I think, the fake dating trope in it between a rock star's son and I think somebody else that's famous, or not entirely sure, but it does have the fake dating trope and it does have a rock star son in it, and I believe it takes place in London. So kind of another like fame romance, and I am definitely looking forward to reading this one. This one's by Alexis Hall, and I just heard really good things about this book, so I hope it just cures my little red, white, and royal blue fix. So yeah, we're gonna see how this one goes. Like, best case scenario, I will end up actually reading more than these 4 books in April. But also 4 books in April would not be bad at all, especially with how much I have going on school-wise. So if I just end up reading those 4 books, I'm gonna be happy. If I read other books besides those ones, it's fine. And even if I don't get to all of these, that's also okay, because sometimes it just happens. And then I don't have a book haul for you guys today. I did get a lot of books in March though. Like, I got a ridiculous amount of books in March. So if you want to see the books I got in March, go to my latest haul video, because those have all of them. I literally have so much that I just gave it its own video because it would not have fit well in my wrap up. So if you want to go check those out, please do. If you want to go check out my reading vlog from March that features some of these books that I read, please go check that out. And yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Again, happy Easter. I hope you guys had an amazing day, even if you don't celebrate, and especially if you do celebrate. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and comment below, and I will see you all next week. Bye!